Hi guys. Sorry I can't make it there tonight. I'm going to a visitation and it's real important that I be there. I've never missed class before, so this was very difficult for me, and I hated to miss out on the presentations because I've been looking at a lot of them online in the discussion board and they're really mind-boggling. So kudos to you guys for what you've done. Tonight, Megan has allowed me to video my open mind diagram so that I could be there with you. My poet tonight is Sharon Olds, and I chose her because I think she's very down to earth and I like the way her poems read. I don't have to read between the lines a lot, and that helps me because poetry is very difficult for me to understand, so the more specific and if you just put it out there and say it, I do a lot better with it, and that's exactly what Sharon Olds does. And she really doesn't hold anything back. She's very blatant and uses a lot of imagery in her poetry, and she just kind of comes out there and says things like they are. So I really enjoy that about her. My open mind diagram, I put her head a little smaller because she says that she believes her thoughts come more from outside of her head. And I think what she means about that is that it's because of the things that go on around her and in her life and that affect her that she writes about. There are a few things, however, that I do believe come from her mind. And first and foremost, I do believe that's her father. She had an alcoholic father and wrote a lot about him. And I have a picture of the father I chose from the movie Sling Blade, and he was just absolute obnoxious drunk. And that's what I wanted to portray here, because most of the time alcoholism just is very troublesome thing to have to deal with. So I'm sure it was tough for her as a daughter and having to deal with that. I also have a picture here of a mother. It's faded out because she doesn't talk about her mother. So I don't really know where her mother is in all of this, but so far I've never heard her say one thing or wrote one poem about her mom. She's a Calvinist. This is John Calvin. She says she's very Calvinist and Hellfire Episcopalian. She likes to canoe. She gets out into the wilderness, and she doesn't smoke cigarettes. She used to. She quit, or use drugs, and she hasn't quit drinking yet. But she says it's very important for accuracy in writing. So she likes to be healthy and clean and, or cleansed, I guess I should say. Healthy and cleansed to keep her mind clear when she writes her poetry, which is very, very important to her. It is her life and she loves it. I picked a couple of different poems that she did. She's written tons of them. But she's very graphic in all of the poems that she writes about. So I picked a few that I want to read to you on here, and hopefully you'll enjoy them immensely. I want to forewarn you, a couple of the pictures I'm going to show you in a minute are a little graphic, and I apologize for that, but I just want to show you how erotic she is as well. She's very in touch with her sexuality. She loves to write about sex. I have no idea why I picked this woman, but I'm stuck with her, and I can't go without putting it in there because it's a huge part of who she is, as you will soon see. But at any rate, let's start with the poem called The Unborn, which I think is very relative because of what we have just been through studying in ethics with respect to abortion. Sometimes I can almost see around our heads, like gnats around a streetlight in summer, the children we could have, the glimmer of them. Sometimes I feel them waiting, dozing in some antechamber, servants half listening for the bell. Sometimes I see them lying like love letters in the dead letter office. And sometimes, like tonight, by some black second sight, I can feel just one of them, standing on the edge of a cliff by the sea, in the dark, stretching its arms out desperately to me. This poem just kind of goes to show you how much feelings she has in her poems and how she just really lays things out there for you on such a very touchy subject. The last two I'm going to read about. One is called Connoisseur of Snails. And I think you'll find this very enlightening and hopefully erotic. When I was a connoisseur of slugs, I would part the ivy leaves and look for the naked jelly of those gold bodies. Translucent strangers glistening along the stones, slowly, their gelatinous bodies at my mercy. Made mostly of water, they would shrivel to nothing if they were sprinkled with salt. But I was not interested in that. What I liked was to draw aside the ivy, breathe the odor of the wall, and stand there in silence until the slug forgot I was there and sent its antenna up and out of its head, the glimmering umber horns rising like telescopes, until finally the sensitive knobs would pop out the ends, delicate and intimate. Years later, when I first saw a naked man, I gasped with pleasure to see that quiet mystery reenacted, the slow, elegant being coming out of hiding and gleaming in the dark air, eager and so trusting you could weep. Now that's erotic, I would say. Anyway, I apologize for the picture, but I just wanted to show you, obviously, her comparison to a man's manhood, should I say. Lastly, but not least, I'm going to read a poem called The Pope and the Penis. It hangs deep in its robes, a delicate clapper at the center of a bell. It moves when he moves, a ghostly fish in a halo of silver seaweed. The hair swaying in the dark and the heat, and at night while his eyes sleep, it stands up and praises God. Thanks, guys, for listening to my Open Mind Diagram presentation, and I'll see you all Thursday night.